Back to Overdrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
All right, best bets coming up later this afternoon. Jay's in action this afternoon. We got Jakob Poeltl with a new deal, sticking around with the Raptors long term.
Yeah.
There's rumors, Masai's gone for a day, and people are saying Ben Simmons could be connected to the Raptors.
Oh, my.
If they sign Ben Simmons,
Isn't he worse than street clothes?
he's the worst of the worst. No one plays less games than Ben Simmons. Like, that would be automatic. You got to fly Masai back in, terminate the contract, and restart everything.
Yeah.
But, yeah, there's a lot of activity in the NBA, obviously, Major League Baseball and the Jays. And today with the NHL free agent frenzy, it wasn't as crazy as in years past, but there was still a lot of player movement, a lot of money moving around. It's always a cool story when you get a local guy who gets to sign in his hometown. And Michael Pizzetta's been with the Habs for years, and he signed with the Leafs today, and he joins us now. How you doing, Michael?
Doing good, guys. How you doing?
We're doing well, man. Take us through this process. Why did the Leafs make sense for you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Toronto boy coming home, just getting the opportunity to put the Leafs sweater on. Something I dreamed about my whole life, and to just get that chance, I'm just so fired up right now. My family's going crazy, and all my buddies. So it's been a fun afternoon.
Oh, yeah, you're going to have a lot of floaters come out of the woodwork for you here soon, I would imagine. Although, I mean, it's more of just a road trip for all your buddies that you've been in Montreal for the last couple of years. But how do you think your style suits this team and especially the coach, Craig Berube?
Yeah, I think, especially with how the playoffs went this year, I think teams are trying to get stronger and harder to play against. And I think I fit that bill exactly. And I know from what I hear with Berube, he loves guys that play hard. And I just want to kind of bring my game to the table and do everything I can,
So, Michael, I saw in your social medias you were posting some childhood photos of you in Leaf sweaters. Take us through your level of Leaf fandom as a young man.
Yeah, I mean, for me growing up, I'm sure like a lot of kids, Matt Sedin was always my favorite player. I wore number 13 growing up my whole life. And yeah, just special. I sat in my room a bit today, and there's still got a picture. I'm staying at my parents' house back in Toronto. I got a picture of my wall of Matt Sedin. I'm sitting there, and I'm just thinking, how cool is it that I get the opportunity to work hard and be able to put this jersey on. It's just such a special feeling, and I'm so happy and blessed to be able to give him this opportunity. We're
chatting with Michael Pizzetta, who signed with the Leafs today. Toronto guy. He's been in Montreal. You've been with the Habs organization throughout your career, so it's going to be an adjustment. You got drafted back in 2016. You've been playing for Laval. You've been with the Habs the last few years on a permanent basis. That's pretty significant, too. A Toronto kid growing up a Leaf fan, going to Montreal, and now you're coming back. How do you look back on your time as a Canadian?
I love my time there. The organization's first class, and the boys were always great, and definitely shared a lot of good memories there. Pretty much grew up there in pro hockey, and got nothing but good things to say about them. And definitely be weird come home opener time and start of the season playing against all those guys and having to try to run them all through the glass. But it'll be fun, and there's no hard feelings.
So you come from an organization, made the playoffs, but you've seen the last couple of years the progression of a young team getting to that next level. Now you're coming to an organization where there's high expectations, and that team has been at that level for a long time. And you look at the star power with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Do you feel the expectation that that comes with signing with this organization?
Yeah, definitely. And I think anytime you play for a big market, Toronto, Montreal, there's expectations that come with that, and the sort of responsibility that when you put that sweater on and you go on the ice, you have a responsibility to play as hard as you can and give everything you got. And it's about winning at the end of the day and bringing a cup back to your city. And I think that's something I'm ready for and just excited for.
You've had a few tilts with Ryan Reeves over your tenure in the league. What's it like when you walk into a dressing room and you become a teammate of a guy who you've traded fists with many a time?
Yeah, I think it's always funny. It's so weird. Like on the ice, you definitely not a player that's making a lot of friends out there, and then you get off the ice and you get in the room, and there's never any hard feelings. For they're both a couple guys going to war and just trying to do their job. So I'm sure we'll have a laugh and can both appreciate the jobs that we have to do.
Absolutely. Well, it's going to be fun to have you in camp and in town. Congrats on the deal. Good luck the rest of the summer. We'll do it again soon. Thank you for this.
Yeah, appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me on.
There he is, Michael Pezzetta, always with a great mustache.
Yeah, I was going to say the salad and the mustache. I didn't want to bring it up just to see.
Big personality,
big
man.
personality.
Like on the ice, big personality.
Yeah.
It seems like, obviously really genuinely excited. And
well, he's a gamer, too.
Yeah, he is. He is. And it's interesting. Like the Marner stuff, that's a local guy that's like, I got to get out of here. That became very clear. Like Mitch just was like, I'm out of here. I don't want to be here anymore. And then, Pezzetta's in a different place in his career, clearly different player, but he's like, just get me there if I can. John Tavares is like, what's it going to take? 4.38? Done. I just want to remain a Leaf. So
Steven Lorentz, same thing.
Steven Lorentz, exactly. Give me a 3-year deal, 1.35. I don't want to leave. So there's going to be there's going to be examples both ways. Like the Marner example is significant right now, and people are taking it and running with it. What does it mean? Local guys, media, fans, is it too much? But then there's a lot of examples on the other side of guys that are like, I'm not going anywhere. I just want to be a Leaf, and I want to try to win here.
Well, it's fair. And the one thing is, like you say, Pezzetta chomping to get here and be a Toronto Maple Leaf. Here's a guy who played in we'll call it a loud market as well. I mean, Montreal's a very loud market. So, we were talking about it before the last break. Nikolai Ehlers may be looking for a little softer landing as far as exposure and all of that. There's some guys that go, hey, I have no problem. Pezzetta, I'm coming from Montreal, go to Toronto. Exact same situation. But other guys, maybe their expiration date sounds like Mitch Marner wanted to change. That's Brad Treliving pretty much confirmed it for us.
Yeah.
He goes to Vegas, you move on from it. The DNA, you brought it up to Tree, the word DNA, it is going to change. Just through osmosis. Different players coming in. There's not the, for lack of better words, the baggage that come with these new players. Nicholas Waugh has no idea. Not that he doesn't have no idea, but he comes with no baggage to the Toronto Maple Leafs. He's not tied to 9 years and playoff losses and all of that. This guy's won a cup. He's been in a different organization. So that's your DNA change. Shelley probably wants to be in the playoffs. He hasn't been a playoff guy. So I think you are going to see through osmosis some change here from some of the players coming in. You still have to replace Mitch Marner's points by committee, though. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, and that's going to depend on who you can get in that top 6 role, but it's not going to be easy to do, right? Like, it's not like you can just say, here's 100 points, plop it back in. But, to me, this whole DNA thing is interesting because, they are searching for something. It was like they're searching for a different identity, a different kind of approach to big games, to big moments. And I guess there is something, too. Like Nick Waugh was talking today to reporters about how, hey, I love the big moments. I've been on a cup team. Now, he's never been the guy on a cup team, but he's performed in, high-pressure games and ended up, hoisting the trophy. So the more guys you have like that, I think the better, obviously. And that's not a bad place to start. I'm not sure. I'm not convinced that you can really have a change of the DNA if the majority of the core is still here.
Well, that's...
And the top player.
Yes, and that's what... And Treliving kind of... I wouldn't say... he didn't roll back his comment, but he's kind of adjusted the definition of the comment.
A little bit.
Where he did say it's internal. Like, our players need to learn to... And that's... where, I think it's frustrating to hear that if you're a Maple Leaf fan, because, Matthew's been here for 9 years. He's just going to flip a switch and be different in Game 7 next time? I don't know. Can John do that? He'll be 35 years old. Is Tavares going to do that? Is Nylander going to do that? Is Morgan Riley? We don't have the answer to that. And there's nothing they can do. They can't put them in a lab and turn them into something different.
Well, they've tried.
Yeah, they've tried.
Brought in, sports psychologists. The highest paid sports psychologist on the planet was here for a while. I mean, they've had a bunch of different people. He talked about the mentality and the between the ears stuff, right? They've tried to, do that. They've brought him, they put him on the couch, let's say.
Right.
And had their feet up and said, okay, what do you need? Like, what is it about these moments that are difficult for you? All these years later, I'm not sure what has changed in between the years for a lot of these guys.
Yeah, well, exactly. I mean, the DNA that's who you are.
Yeah, it is.
You can't change that. necessarily. Like, you can try to insulate it. You can try to help. You can keep poking and prodding. You can hope maturity, continue. Although it's not about maturity. I mean, John Tavares has been in the league for 16 years or whatever. But I don't know. I get Marner's out, and that is very significant.
It is significant.
Like
one
Mitch
less
Marner,
of them. We'll call it one less of the guys that you focused on. It is.